Hi and welcome back to my channel, Look 10 Years Younger. I'm 47 years old and I talk about everything related to healthy aging, anything that can make us feel or look better as we get older. I like to look into any kind of theories or devices or treatments which I think my followers would be interested in, whether that's mainstream or alternative. I like to put the information out there and let you make your own minds up. And today I'm talking about Rife treatment. Royal Rife was an American scientist in the 1920s, and he discovered that ultrasound frequencies delivered into the body could target and destroy pathogens and improve cellular function. And we're talking about very gentle, low energy waves. It's not like X-rays or anything like that. His work was lost for around 100 years, but there's been a recent resurgence of interest in this field. So rather than me sitting here telling you about what I've researched, I thought it would be better to interview an expert on this topic to find out more. So I've got Nick Dewey, who is a trainer for the company Spooky Squared, and they manufacture Rife machines. Thank you for joining me today. My first question is, so I've looked at the website and I understand the principle. There's a good analogy where you've got an opera singer and her voice is breaking the glass. So my understanding is that you've got different bacteria and viruses or things you want to kill, and your devices emit a frequency which is specifically aimed at those things, and you can kill them.
That is correct, yes.
Why isn't this better known? Because this sounds amazing if you can just kill viruses.
That's a very good question, but we're in a world at the moment whereby things which are innovative and that do actually work and should be taken seriously just aren't. And for various reasons, people involved in frequency work and things like zapping and rifing will be regarded as being rather crank people because there is no theoretical basis which is out there amongst the common populace to suggest that frequency work is a thing which you should be taking seriously. So it's the culture that we're in at the moment and the slow progress of science, which has held back work into things which are useful to a wide variety of different people. So I would say that there will be progress in researching alternative and complementary healthcare in the future, because I think there's going to be so much of it about that the orthodox medical world will have to say, well, okay, what's actually going on with essential oils? What's actually going on with magnet therapy and what's actually going on with frequency therapy? But experience shows that having this technology at hand is a very useful thing if you're someone like myself with a history of candida and its co-infections.
I would guess as well, personally, I would guess that the big pharmaceutical companies do not want people to find other ways of getting better because they're going to lose money. So I guess that's
a hypothesis which some people have. Whether there is any direct, deliberate attempt to suppress the hidden knowledge of rifing and spiritual healing and Reiki and the rest of that, I don't think that we can necessarily say that. It's just that the process of science is slow, and when there is a establishment idea, that idea becomes guarded. It becomes looked after, protected. It becomes something that people hold dear to. And therefore, it becomes difficult to shift onto something that could be more advanced, more efficient, more beneficial. So let's not apportion blame and move down to the rabbit hole of conspiracy theories for the moment, and instead think more about this stuff exists. This stuff is something which you can put to the test on your own body, and then as a result of that, work out your own hypotheses as to how you can use it. And on top of that, the wonderful companies of Spooky2, Miramate, and Hiwi have managed to keep the costs relatively low, and they're running it all as a not-for-profit organization, which means that it's coming from a very good ethical standpoint. It's not just a question of they're going to give you excellent customer services and it's all going to be very shiny and bright, and hey presto, it doesn't do anything. They've provided us with probably the broadest, most complex, and also most versatile system of complementary health you can do at home yourself. And for that, I personally am truly grateful.
Okay. So I've heard of scalar waves before. It's something to do with the Earth's natural frequency, isn't it? And then you've got the American scientist Rife, who discovered the Rife frequency. And then you've got Tesla as well. And how does this all tie in together? Is scalar the same as what you're
Okay.
talking about, or is it different?
Rifing is a different discipline than using scalar, although scalar technology has been created by Spooky 2, which can be used alongside frequency work and also in its plain and natural format in order to boost the cell's interconnection. I think maybe you're confusing the Schumann resonance, which is the electromagnetic field of the Earth itself brought about by lightning strikes around the world, with what scalar energy is, which is something which operates more on an organic level and deals with cells communicating with each other. Because we're beings which is made up out of physical matter, yes, but we also have electromagnetics, we also have scalar, which operates as part of the natural systems of life.
Mm.
So learning how to use these things for your betterment can be very positive indeed, and great fun.
Okay. So, so scalar is the natural cellular energy, which is everywhere, and then you've got the Rife frequencies. So this is different from scalar.
That's right. I mean, the Rife frequencies can be delivered through a wide variety of different methods, including contact electrodes via plasma emanations from the plasma ball or plasma tube. There's even PEMF, so you can use a different variety of healing modality on yourself. You could use ultrasonic, cold laser. You can do imprinting of frequencies in water or crystals, and even holographic stickers, which is now becoming very popular among some people, to provide
Mm.
extra ways of getting frequency information into your own energy fields. I personally use plasma and contacts rather a lot because of the nature of my conditions, and that's a good way of getting in with some hardcore killing of pathogens.
It all sounds amazing, and I've seen the website, but for a newbie, it's a bit overwhelming because there's different kits.
Mhm.
So from what I understand, the lowest price one, you can detox and you can scan, and then there's higher priced ones where you can actually they have the kill function where you can kill the viruses or the bacteria, and then you have the one at the top, which is it does everything. So would that be a general, or have I got that wrong?
Well, there's different ways in which you could assemble your own kit, so to speak. There's one generator X, which I've got, which has two outputs on it. I'm using one for remote and one for plasma at the moment. I also have numerous XM generators around the house, which I use for some remote work. So I can do lots of different treatments at once. It depends upon what's wrong with your body, what you think is right for yourself. The most basic thing you could buy yourself would be an XM generator plus a boost unit, a contact cable, and some TENS pads. And that will cost you, probably less than 150 US dollars. And that will provide you with quite a lot of functionality at a low level. Then you move up and you buy the pulse unit so you can do biofeedback and ascertain the frequencies of the pathogens you've got inside your body. Very powerful method that is. And then you can go up to the generator X itself, which has a much more advanced biofeedback functionality and also a higher frequency range. So it does depend upon where you are. It can seem daunting because when I first downloaded the software, I looked at it and I thought, oh my God, please somebody help me. But there's so much information out there and so many blogs and so many posts and videos, you can just go onto Google and ask it a few questions.
Mm.
And you will probably get the answer from a Spooky 2 blog or video coming up for you.
So anyone who's not technical and they're looking at your website and they're maybe scared off, there is lots of support and they can,
Yeah,
you know.
there's plenty of support. There's training videos out there. You can actually hire trainers directly. I'm one of the Spooky 2 trainers myself. And there's lots of ways which you can get that information, and you can just ask people questions. They've even created a Facebook group where you can just randomly say, look, I'm really stuck on this thing. Somebody help me. And people will do it,
Yeah.
completely free of charge. So, I mean, when I started out, I was initially a bit arrogant, I think, and I thought I'll be able to get my head around this very easily. And then I started running it, and oh dear, what do I do? And so then, right, okay, experiment on my own body, learn what I can, work out what this device can do for me, and then put it all together. And then after that, I then ended up helping other people, and I became a trainer. But I came at this with very intense brain fog caused by the candida and the pathogens.
Yeah.
Even under those conditions, I was able to copy what other people had done on other videos and think, okay, I'll do that, I'll follow that, or maybe I spent a bit of time practicing with the presets, and then I moved on to programs, then a bit of biofeedback. So you can give yourself a course of education as to the different things you want to experiment with, and different things you want to specifically learn, and maybe break it down into chunks which you go through, like a couple of weeks on this, a couple of weeks on that, a couple of weeks on the other. And after a few months, you'll basically just have everything in place. And a lot of the moves you'll be doing on the software and also the setting up of the hardware becomes closer to second nature. Still requires some thought, but it is much closer to second nature.
And when you say biofeedback, what does that mean exactly?
That's when the hardware and the software works together to ascertain what particular frequencies ascertain a response inside the body. This will therefore be a frequency usually of a pathogen or colony of pathogens which needs killing. So it picked up my Candida and my Candida albicans very well and managed to kill rather a lot of it.
So, so people are successfully using this throughout the world to kill various pathogens in
Kill
their body.
pathogens and also to entrain healthy frequencies within organs. I mean, if you've got, let's say, a liver that's not very healthy, you can choose the liver frequencies and you can choose what we call the healing shell. And then that will provide the entrainment which is necessary to bring the liver back up to its healthy function. So it can then go through the process of detoxification better. So the thing we call the terrain protocol operates on that principle and entrains the healthy frequencies within the various organs of elimination one at a time in sequence so that your body can remove any extra debris which has accumulated throughout your life. And so there are people who rely upon that for a lot of their healing in its own right.
So each organ has its own healthy frequency, and you can
That's
just
right.
direct that in your body. That's fascinating. So that would be detox and eliminating heavy metals and things like that, I guess.
Yeah.
And so it's not aiming at the heavy metal directly. You're just getting your liver to excrete it and to be efficient.
Well, that's part of it, but there are also some frequencies specifically for the heavy metals, and so the body can then target them.
Right. Oh, there are frequencies to actually get rid of the heavy metals as well. Oh, that's really interesting. Would this help with arthritis and inflammation?
Arthritis is something which it could be very useful for because there are healing frequencies specifically for different varieties of arthritis. So you could do a biofeedback scan to work out what particular type of arthritis is, you're needing to treat using something called grade scanning. And then we can refine the result with another biofeedback. This will mainly work on the pathogens which are involved in making the condition worse. So we could do it that way. We can also entrain healthy bone frequencies as well into the body. We could use sets specifically for healing and regeneration. Yeah, and also running detox alongside it would also help because you've got to carry on keeping the body clean so it can do its healthy job. So yes, I'm sure you can. Also with arthritis, there's the PEMF coil, which can be very useful for things specifically such as arthritis, and you can put some healthy frequencies through the PEMF coil. Cold laser for the area, especially for the inflammation in general, that would be very good. So there's ways of doing it. It's a question of working out what could be healthy and then running through remote and contact and plasma, things which will hopefully do the job and bring you to a better state. And then you monitor your progress as the weeks pass by, taking honest notes about how you're feeling, and then you see what's improved and what hasn't.
Okay. And also it's fascinating that you can do this remotely. So someone can be in another country and you can still set this to work on their body.
Yeah, I think I might have a remote around. No, not on my desk at the moment. But yes, we do have the small black, oh, here we go. Small black remote units. These things are very, very strange, obviously, because we're not brought up in our society to believe in quantum entanglement as a viable means of looking at health. Now, the remote units does produce effects quite nicely, but it does it in a very mild and long-term way. So then if you're looking at your disease, you've got to think about whether you need something quicker, whether the pathogens are more very serious, you want to eliminate them quickly, in which case you need to go on to contacts and plasma. But you can use your remotes for things such as detox in the background. You can use your remotes to provide you with a bit of extra support with a wide variety of different things, and also to run the results of your biofeedback. So when you're not taking your biofeedback via contact and plasma, if there's any doubling time of the pathogens concerned, that can be held back through the use of the remotes.
So I dare ask the question for you to explain quantum entanglement. That's probably too long for this video, but this is using waves still, like frequencies.
This is using a variety of scalar technology which will not be diminished over distance. So you place a sample of your DNA into the remote unit, which is then connected to a black device called a boost, which is then connected to your frequency generator. And the coils, we have scalar coils, which double back on themselves to provide the point whereby the waveform collapse operates, and therefore there is a generation of a scalar field within a magnetic field, which will then take the information which you have decided the frequency generator needs to deliver to your body, to your DNA, and then onto your own body, no matter where you are in the world. And I've had some quite interesting and frightening experiences of using that when I was in my early days and experimenting to see what these things could do, because I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't actually believe in the remote when I first got my first kit. I thought it was like, okay, that's an interesting point of view, but I'm not quite sure about it. And then I used it and I took it very seriously for an extended period of time. And it surprised me. It did surprise me quite nicely. So it's definitely a viable thing for people to use to assist in the long-term wellness of the body and mind.
I actually suffer from eczema. Would it be any help for that?
Yes, I think so. I think so very much. Depending upon the cause of the eczema, because you could have a dry skin condition, you could have digestive system problems, which is coming out in terms of making your skin uncomfortable. You could have liver issues going on. So going on a long-term healing journey would probably be a very important thing for you to do. But you can also operate directly upon the skin with some of the tools produced by Mirrormate, which is a sister company of Spooky 2. For eczema, you would want to use Generator X Pro to do your biofeedback scanning in order to try and make sure you're trying to eliminate or reduce any infection of the gut, which is making the eczema itself worse. If you've got any flakes which you can take off your skin, which might have some pathogens in it related to the eczema, then you could put that through sample digitizer and get the frequencies specific to the pathogens on the skin itself. And you could also treat with that. Treatments, delivery of frequency, I think contact or plasma would be best because it's quite a difficult condition to have and it could have many different causes. You can also use the cold laser devices on specific areas and spots in order to try and bring about healing to the area. Mirrormate also does a device called the ray gun, which is good for skin conditions too. And that's good again for localized areas. So it depends upon whether it's a whole body thing or whether it's just localized areas. So there will be ways of adjusting it and treating.
Okay, that's great. And what about people who've been vaccinated and maybe they're having some kind of reaction, or is there any way that you can aim at spike protein, or is there any way you can aim at what was actually injected? Is that possible?
Well, that becomes a much more complicated debate because we don't, there's plenty of things not quite explained to us or known as to why someone might get an adverse reaction to a COVID vaccine, for instance. But what we could do is treat it from the point of view that the body needs to have information so that it can then find the things which is bad so it can remove it itself. So you could do biofeedback scanning based specifically upon on the virus itself. And there are lots of COVID sets within Spooky 2 anyway, so that you can do grade scanning on all of them and then find the right specific frequencies which is best for that particular problem. We're also working excessively with detoxification. You'll need to use refined programs after your grade scan, and also extra work for immune building. I would also suggest lots of work on the liver as well, because if you're unwell as a result of something being introduced to the body, then you've got to have your internal organs for elimination working in flow, working in sequence, so that there is no backup inside the body. Some people could be confusing backup of organs of elimination with some COVID symptoms in some cases. So just operating, doing the terrain protocol via contact could actually alleviate an awful lot of the problems anyway.
Okay. And my last question was, where did the name come from, the spooky name?
That's clever because it comes from Albert Einstein. If you think about the development of the remote unit, this enables you to have spooky action at a distance. Okay, and that's what it does. It's spooky action at a distance, but there's more to it. Hence the figure 2, as if it's squared, as if there's more, you know, it's made even bigger. But it's also quite good fun. And a lot of people who are going through some very serious and in so many cases life-threatening conditions find it quite fun to have a little ghosty as the logo, because it's quite comforting and fun and childlike.
Those were my questions. So thank you very much for your time.
I would join the Facebook group, which is called Spooky 2 Rife for Life. Okay. Spooky 2 RIFE Okay. Join that and chat with some of the people there and ask as many questions as you want. Okay. There's only, you know, the most stupid question is the one you don't ask. So as a conclusion, these machines are not really the usual stuff that I review. Normally the devices are plug in and use straight away. But with these, it seems there's quite a lot to learn in order to get the optimal benefit. I can understand that for a lot of people that will just send them running in the opposite direction because it's too much work. But if this has sparked your interest, you could join their Facebook group or just try and dig a little more and find out more about this field. Whatever subject I'm talking about, I normally link studies, but it's important to say that there are no studies or clinical data available about this particular topic. So there is a theory that the American Medical Association during the 20s and 30s didn't want this technology coming out to the world at a time when the growing pharmaceutical companies were pushing out their synthetic drugs. Anything in its way had to be flattened. So I have no view one way or the other because I haven't actually tried the device. If you're someone who's interested in detoxing, as I am, I think it'd be super interesting. And at one stage in the future, I probably will get one of these devices. If you're someone who has some kind of illness or you know someone who's really sick and there's no medical treatment for it, then it may be worth spending $300 on one of these devices. It could be life-changing. I'm going to link their website below so you can find out more and check out what they sell. I'm going to try to get a discount code so you can save a bit of money if you do want to go for one of these. I should point out I'm not sponsored or paid to make this video. These are my own views and opinions. I just thought this would be quite an interesting topic to cover. If you've got any questions or comments, please put them below. If you've enjoyed this video, please consider giving me a thumbs up and a subscribe. It would really help my channel to grow. Thanks for watching and I'll see you soon.